think the honorable thing for our species to do is deny our programming. Stop reproducing. Walk hand in hand into extinction. One last midnight, brothers and sisters opting out of a raw deal.
Do not trust any friends or family members. I repeat, do not.
I guess we don't. Oh, okay, Chris, did you catch up on Alien Earth? Sorry, this will be like our last little installment on this potentially.
Well, I caught up on this. I'm on the next to last, so I haven't watched the finale.
Oh, Jesus Christ! You're just crawling. Okay, so
yeah,
the second to last was also terrible, though.
Yeah.
No, what?
You have positive things to say about it?
I really enjoyed it. Yeah. You guys,
I'm beginning to understand that Chris. Yeah, Chris is coming. I think I'm going to put words in your mouth for a second. I'm going to guess it's the robot considerations again.
Yeah.
That's
right. Yeah, I don't give a shit about the aliens in this show. So if you're going, if you're showing up for that, you may be really disappointed.
Yeah, no, that's honestly super fair. However, even the robot considerations, as far as James and I are concerned, lets you down at the end.
Okay, that I'm bracing for. I do believe that I'm going to be like, fuck this show by the end of watching the finale. So yeah, tune in if we ever get to it. If I ever get to it.
Yeah, well, you're going to have to at some point because we're going to tackle it in December. But
oh yeah, that's right.
By then we'll have like a little bit of distance on it, and we can, we'll be above the cacophony of voices, above the howling wolves of the forest path.
We'll sing Disney's praises.
Yeah, that's right. We only sing the praises of Dracula here on the Extinction Agenda with James, myself,
James also.
And Chris as well.
As well, the man on the internet most likely to fornicate with demons. Okay, yeah. Sorry to rush into it, but like I was saying, the time's the thing. All right, so we're doing the Bram Stoker's Dracula today. It's part of Dractober here on the Extinction Agenda. Comes out in 1992. I didn't look up what month. Who cares? Directed by Francis Ford Coppola, with the script by James V. Hart, but it's it adheres pretty strongly to Bram Stoker's work, which is why he calls it Bram Stoker's Dracula, just like Mario Puzo's The Godfather, as fucking in any goddamn interview, Coppola's going to tell you why he did that, and that's the reason he did it. Special effects by his son Roman Coppola. I got some things to say about that, no doubt, throughout this episode. And then costumes by, I didn't actually figure out how to say the name, Aiko Ishiaka. And I think music by, you think that's like one of those Polish names that looks like it's unpronounceable, but it just translates as Wojtek or something? I don't know.
We'll never know.
Kolar. Yeah. A Polish classical musician. I mean, that's just like the tip of the iceberg of who's involved here. But I figured like those are you can try to draw lines between all those things in order to explain like why this thing's so fucking great. I mean, of course, the actors and everything, you'd have to put them in the mix as well. But so we got Keanu, we got Gary Oldman, and we got Natalie Portman, our chief creatures here. But it's a sort of a star-studded cast. What did I say?
Natalie Portman.
Did I forget to say Winona? I said Natalie Portman.
That's okay if you've got her on the brain. That's there's no
I might
no harm done.
I just didn't write it. Yeah, all right. Sorry about that. Winona Ryder. Okay, this movie, James. I know that this one's very dear to your heart. Give us. You don't have to defend it, or not that you need to defend it at all. I think all of us love this movie, but I mean, like, yeah.
Well, okay, so this is the first movie, like an early movie for me, where I, well, to put it plainly, is I feel like you're weird if you don't root for the heel here,
Okay, yeah.
He's. It's funny because Dracula to me comes off as the underdog, in a romance story, as bleak maybe as a romance story can be, and as gory, and yeah, it's that's all it is. It has like sort of one track and one like through line, and it's just like his love, and that's kind of sad, you know.
Yeah. Okay. So, Bram Stoker's Dracula, sad movie, we get from James. Famously sad movie. Chris, I don't know. What's your experience with Bram Stoker's Dracula? Were you a Drac head as a kid, or what?
This movie rocked my world when I was a kid. I had a weird phase of like my dad took me to see a Dracula play like before this movie came. Like I don't know, it must have been in the air. So like I think I was 11, and then when this came out, I was so excited. I was like Batman psyched for it, and it didn't let me down. I watched this like I'm sure like over like 10 times, just like when it was released alone, and I read the book, and like I got right into it. But I think I am a bit weird because this also like tied into like me like just being Catholic, you know, like that sense, the fear of vampires being that thing of like through no fault of your own, like your soul is gone, like you like just something bit you, and like you're now like apart from God. And this movie really like it goes hard with the religious imagery, the like the psychosexual imagery, all of it gets kind of like whipped in. I mean, which makes sense. It's the origin of the popularity of it in Western culture. But fantastic, phenomenal. Like everything's great about this movie.
Yeah, I'll sign off on that last statement. Yeah, I came away, particularly this viewing, having got into like the production behind it or whatever. And yeah, you know, the similar the typical sort of thing where like I watch it for the podcast, and suddenly I'm like, you know, you see extra stuff because you're looking for things to talk about. But yeah, like listening to you guys talk, like I've seen this movie like more times than I can count. But not because I like would put down and like watch it and really pay attention to it. I just really loved having it in the background. I didn't have any emotional connection to it. I liked to listen to it, and I liked to look at it. But that just never stopped. And I would watch it, you know, even recently, you know, I'll just be like, oh, I don't know what to do. I just want to put something on in the background. I'll put on Dracula. So like, I kind of felt like this is maybe the second time I've ever really watched it. The first time being, I don't know, 5 years ago or whatever, you know, like when the boy was young and I had to watch TV while I was just like holding him, feeding him a bottle or some shit. Which wasn't 5 years ago, probably 6 years ago now. So yeah, so it's a kind of ambivalent connection, but like none of that contains any negativity. Like it's not that I was bored with it or anything, or I didn't think the characters weren't interesting. Although I do find Keanu Reeves very stiff and unconvincing in his character, and I did then and I do now. But I just sort of ignore it, you know, because whatever, it's Keanu Reeves. Like that's what you're going to get from him. Yeah.
If you could remove him from the movie, would you do it?
Well, that's a fun, fair question, but yeah, I'm just going to go with a yes. I think I would. Everybody else's acting is so sort of titanic in this that it wouldn't hurt for him to be a little more something. That said, sorry, like what I was going to just riff off of what you were saying, James. It's just like if you're going to root for the heel, it's easier to do that when your lead romance character, like the Jonathan Harker, that's his name, right? Yeah. He's if he's milquetoast, then then Gary Oldman he gets to swoop in, right, and you just feel a bit better about it.
Yeah, he gets to shine through, and he does shine through, and he also is more charming, and there's more of a lust behind him, which is the whole vibe or whatever the movie's going for. But the funny thing about Keanu Reeves is that you had those great performances from Cary Elves, Billy Campbell, and Richard E. Grant. The
three amigos.
Yeah. What was their name?
I don't even remember.
The redhead
like,
Lucy.
Lucy,
Lucy's suitors or whatever. The doctor, the cowboy, and the gentleman or whatever.
The doctor.
They were so. They were also inept, but they were steadfast in their performances and their aesthetic, and I do feel like in costume, in lines and delivery and screen time that Keanu was neutered on purpose, and he's relegated to be that sort of that back end piece that's just like fuck him,
Yeah. Quincy's name I remember because he has a big knife, but I don't remember the other two.
Oh, and I sort of wrote them down in little. There's Dr. Seward,
right?
Who's Richard Grant.
Jack
and,
Richard.
Yeah.
Oh
Jack,
no, so Jack. Yeah.
And you only remember Quincy because he's like, oh, Quincy, it's so big. Let me hold it.
Yeah.
With the big knife. Yeah. Hey, and you get Chekhov's knife there. He pulls that out and slashes his throat later.
That's right.
How, Chris, just like satisfy my curiosity just for a moment, like to your recollection, does this adhere pretty strongly to the book? Like, because I was flipping through it and it's not like a one-to-one sort of play-by-play, because the book's way too long for that. But does
the
it?
Best I remember, like the main plot points, yes, I would say up to about the ending, pretty faithful. I think it differs somewhat in its end, and I do think for reasons I'll want to get into later, but it's a little more action packed if I remember correctly in the movie.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And there's another thing might as well just like get a little bit of the fuss out now. That final shootout at the Borgo Pass when they're chasing the train, not the train, like the carriage.
Mm-hmm.
That goes on a little long and is a little hokey. Now when I learned how they filmed it, I kind of really forgave all that hokiness. Nonetheless, watching it, whatever it was 6 years ago, I was like, fuck, I don't like this part.
No, I think
bring back the rest of the movie.
I think Act 4 was the weakest, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
The end of the film doesn't, like, the other ones have such good, like, the sequences in the way that the color of the film is shot and the way that the costumes are done, how the characters shift from you go from obviously the opening scene, which is just like you like almost hold your breath through, and then they move to the old man Dracula, and then you move into the younger Dracula as he makes his journey across in the whatever, the Dementor or whatever, and then there's sort of the terrorizing of Lucy in the house while he keeps himself young, trying to woo back his old bride. But then when you switch to that Act 4, it does seem sloppier. I don't know why, but it doesn't hold together as well. It might be Anthony Hopkins, because there is camp in this.
Oh yeah, he comes in hard, Anthony Hopkins, at the tail end of the movie. So
and there is a campiness to the movie. There is a grandiose and almost like a theater sort of delivery of certain scenes and lines, like to like theatrical to almost like a silly degree, and they get away with it because of how beautiful it is and because of the acting chops everyone has. But I feel that Anthony Hopkins kind of brings you to a different level of hokum at the end, and it is a little jarring.
I want to lay some cards on the table right now. I agree with you guys totally, and I can't, like, it is widely acknowledged among critics that like Bram Stoker was a dull guy. Like he was super bourgeois. Like this is like purely of his class, like the up and coming like middle class, the capitalist sort of like I think he was a banker. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember totally. But anyway,
Sure.
he's very much of his time. And the origin of the story of Dracula is a dream that he has. So like, and in that dream, like there's a guy crawling outside the castle walls, and like all that really like feverish imagery that like starts the novel is what he sets down on paper. But he doesn't have anything necessarily to carry out the promise of that initial vision. And I think that this story, this movie, the whole thing is like this sort of like bourgeois, like we need to protect the honor and the sanctity of women, very Victorian. Like this guy, this bohemian weirdo is a threat to our women. He's going to come into your window at night and seduce them. And their souls are at stake. So we need to get on this and like save it. But it doesn't have anything to say that this is like a satisfying ending for those women. So I think that's the problem with like the story is that like by the time Mina has gone through her journey, like all they can do is sort of like hand it over to him. Like Keanu Reeves can just be like, well, it's her decision now because like, she's like, basically they're 20 for Christ's sakes, like they're like, they have experienced nothing of life. Her only future is like to be a wife to some banker, some realtor dude, who's like not.
Yeah, he's a law clerk.
Yeah, and then like that's her future forever. So no wonder she like that's an age that like a lot of women are going through like a college like slut phase and like.
Oh, she wants to fuck so bad in this version.
No judgment, exactly. Lucy, totally the same thing. Like they're just sowing their wild oats, and like the repressive sort of like marriage institution can't handle that.
So I've got something to build off of that, and it kind of comes from what we were saying earlier about the three amigos, the suitors or whatever. I think that like it seems to me that like the masculine energy in this movie actually comes from if we're thinking about masculine, like we're talking like stereotypically masculine sexual energy, actually comes from the women and it comes from Dracula.
Yeah.
Like the suitors themselves are, obviously they're hot, but they're hot to fuck, right? But they're, Richard E. Grandy's taking morphine to fucking control himself. Like the Texan guy, fine, he's got the big knife or whatever, but like, I guess maybe he's kind of a big doof though, like, and I guess Van Helsing
is diminished, like in terms of he's the lowest intellect of the
Princess Bride guy,
adult,
yeah, the Princess Bride guy fucking falls asleep trying to guard Lucy, and then we already talked about Keanu and I don't know, it's just what does all of that potentially mean though? Like it's kind of an inversion or a subversion, because I agree with you, Chris. Like that is the story that's being told is one about the sanctity of women in middle class societies and the influence of the degenerate other, upon them. I don't know. Maybe it is very much in keeping with the 19th century concern about like unbridled female sexuality, though, and equating it with the vampire. And
like look at Lucy. Like I saw that in such a new way. Like when she,
I'll look at Lucy. Don't you worry.
Literally, her first encounter is like with Dracula, like in a beast form in the garden. Like and
he's just banging away on Darla. Yeah.
Don't look at me. Don't see me. Yeah. It's like pure like bestial sexuality that she's just kind of succumbed to. I thought it was very funny, the scene like where she's like is introduced and like she's flirting so hard with all three suitors, and Mina's like, she's a very pure and decent girl at heart, and you're like, that's not what I'm seeing here necessarily.
Yeah, but the way she speaks, so freely, but like, Mina wants to be like her, and that kind of tells you what you. And like honestly, you see it at the beginning though. Before we even meet Lucy, she sees Keanu in the garden or whatever, and she and when she talks about being married and being anxious to be married, like what I hear her saying is like, I really wanted to fuck. I was really looking forward to fucking. Like if you just kind of replace that phrase in the opening little event, like it takes on like an extra special meaning, and it's supported by the fact that she drags him into a dark area where she can like start open mouth kissing him.
Yeah.
And then it fades away, you know.
She also laments that like I think she's like we weren't able to get married before, but that's not. Yeah, that's marriage is just the barrier to getting to fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, she also goes on like a second date and goes into like some type of like a hotel room or like absinthe house and like experiments with. She's experimenting with absinthe, which I don't think at any point in time was really appropriate for young women. And
no, and the theater too.
Yeah,
first date.
Yeah. So he takes her to all the nice places, and then he's going to take her to a fancy dinner later, and then he gets the note about how she's dumping him, and he fucking cries like a bitch.
The absinthe thing,
weeping like, a bunch of yeah. Go ahead.
Mind expansion, like I think, like it's like literally her world, her horizons expanding, and it is tied with the aristocracy. It's like that like hatred of the like the the up and coming class for like the old money, but that freedom that they have because they aren't tied to that, like the reproductive morality of the bourgeois. Like the like women need to be there to have large families and support this sort of like this engine that we're building of capitalism and industry.
Yeah. Something about the cinema thing. So like this movie takes place is 1897, and Coppola is very like, well, like this is when the birth of cinema is or whatever. And there's a couple things to say about that. Obviously there's the not obvious. Well, I guess like Nosferatu itself is a pretty old fucking movie, 1922 or something like that. So it is itself like this story in film has a deep history. But so James, have you ever watched any of the behind the scenes footage on this movie?
No, I don't have any. Weirdly, okay. I have a pretty dub standard copy of the film that I've just sort of dragged along with myself. So
I think you would really enjoy like I'm going to get into a little bit of it, but like I'm only going to be able to scratch the surface. Like the production behind this is nothing short of phenomenal. Like incredibly interesting. Like having the reason I like the movie so much now is because I know more about how they made it, and that's always going to make me. I think I'm going to call it the Captain Power phenomenon, where like I kind of like something, but when I learn how they make it, I love it. The discipline that they set to themselves when they made this movie is we're not going to use any CGI, and we're only going to use techniques that were present in the early days of film. So we're going to use double exposures. We're going to use like live effects. We're going to do optical illusions. That if we're going to have a scene where like no one's in the mirror, the trick is that there's a hole in the wall and there's a recreation of the room on the other side of that hole in the wall. Shit like that. We're going to have rats running upside down. It's because we're going to turn the camera upside down and we're going to film it there, and then we're going to take it and we're going to double expose it on the image, like just all sorts of shit. And we're going to stick to the art styles of the period of the 19th century. We're going to draw like just heavy influence from paintings and sketches and Gustav Doré and I guess Gustav Klimt is another. It's just Gustav's all the way down. Like the castle, like the which looks like this old man with a skeleton hand. That's taken from some artist named Gupta or something like that. So you could just do a trivia fucking fest about the whole thing. The point of bringing it up though is like, one, that adds to its beauty and uniqueness. Like what they were able to do with this movie, with the costuming. And this is the other thing, sorry. Coppola was like, he didn't want... It's all filmed in a soundstage. There's no outdoor sets. Like the whole thing is all artificial, top to bottom. Matte paintings. When they filmed the race, like the Borgo Pass, they just had the horses running in a circle in a soundstage. And then they flipped the camera to make it look like, like people are traveling in one direction. And so And yeah, and then the costumes and like the Japanese designer Ishioka, you know, like he gave it to her and he was like, and the saying is that the costumes are the sets, and so he ensured that the set designers. That's why Roman comes in, because no one wanted to do what he wanted to do, so he was like, I'm going to get my 20-year-old son to do it, and he did, and so it's a real nepo job. It's kind of funny, but. So all the pageantry of it, all the elements, it's a really unique blend. And I don't think I'm kind of stealing this line from the documentaries, but I think what they said was true. Like, you may never see a movie like this ever again, on a big, like, Hollywood, like it's a giant experiment. And the fact that they pulled it off so well is a fucking marvel.
But
it also explains, why that race at the end is so trash. Because they're on a soundstage, just it's going around in circles.
They're like you. It's funny now that you're saying all that, because you can see it. It's just that I couldn't put it into words. Like, you can't. You're seeing things happen, and you can see the costumes, and you can see the coloring, and you can see that the effects are practical. You could see that they're aggressively using practical effects. But you can't really piece together what you just described, like, just from as an outside viewer. You just know that there's something very different about it. You know, that's
the imagery in this movie too, and like the sort of effects, the divorce of his shadow that acts independently. It's so like feverish and dreamlike, and it's really like it's like visual poetry almost. I was really impressed by that this time.
I'm probably going to do some more trivia bits as we go up, and I apologize in advance. But so they had a human guy who specializes in mimicking people's shadows, but he's not perfect. So that's why it's slightly off, and then it fades. But they were just like, that's perfect. That's an excellent. That's just such a great effect. And then it also ties into like the opening of the movie when they're fighting the Ottoman Turks or whatever. Like, it's all shadow puppets in the background, and they're just sticks moving up and down, right? And just really great. And you're right. You're right, Chris. Oh, sorry. Did that spark a thought? Or
I was just gonna say that they tip their hand a little bit later, like almost like a meta, like when they're in the theater and you see behind the screen where they have like the people on sticks in a war.
Yeah, and that was I think that was the idea that I didn't. That was the loop that I didn't close. Like, so it's like a meta commentary on how they made the movie within the movie. That visit to the cinema, but you don't notice, right? Because it's just like it's a date. So the imagery in this movie is, well, it's pretty, like what's the central images? We got a cross, we got a blood, I guess we get the blood drinking, we get a lot of teeth, a lot of women's breasts, which I can always appreciate. Just fantastic tits in this movie. Just incredible.
Concur.
That's true. Eyes over the horizon. That's like like sort of those wipes. Yeah. Use of color.
There's a hue. Yeah, there's a color and tone to it, and the red and orange are like accented. And then everything else is held to like sort of a green and gray. That's the skin tones are all washed over. It's just bizarre.
Very gothic when you put it that way.
Yeah.
Fitting.
Yeah.
So Mr. Gary Oldman, unless there's something else, but we should just talk about fucking Dracula here, and how absolutely incredible this performance is. This movie doesn't work. Like, all the fancy stuff or whatever, it could have fallen real flat. I think that if you had anyone else playing, well, I don't know, who knows? Someone else could have done this, I guess, but like, he does it this way, and it works exceptionally.
Yeah, he's playing three. Like, I don't know what you're getting out of it, but there are kind of like three like central roles, because he's playing he's like a warlord, I guess, for the church to start with, and then he'll be like a creepy old man, the count, and then he'll be the young suitor. I'm sorry, 4 maybe, because he's also playing like bestial roles also.
Yes. Yeah.
So that bridge across those 4 characters is an insane ask for anyone in any film.
Yeah. And the prosthetics and everything, like constant prosthetics. And he's, even when he's playing the knight and he's wearing that armadillo suit, the red armadillo suit.
Oh, God. Like muscle. It looks like he's like skin or something.
Yeah. He can barely move in it. It's like RoboCop time, and he's just having a fucking... It's really rough.
And they're asking him to move like a warrior in that fucking thing.
Yeah. Now, run forward and stab that cross. Yeah, so just on a purely like practical level, bravo. But the way he's able to make use of his voice, the way he sells at the camp, I do agree. Like when he sits down to dinner, and excuse me, I've already dined, and I never drink and pause wine.
Yeah.
It's and he's just got a little wry smile on his face or whatever. Like, so he's selling humor, and then he's explosive in that very same meeting where he's telling the story of his family, and then Keanu Reeves laughs at something. I think like a
little chuckle. Yeah,
and then he just pulls out the fucking sword. And then goes back to being an old man or whatever. But he's an old man even with the sword, but he's like an incredibly strong old man. Like it's just like, it feels like you feel, on the one hand, you feel the prosthetics are doing a lot of the work, but on the other hand, like that's a really nuanced performance all around. Like if you're wearing a werewolf suit and you still kind of feel like the same character.
Yeah. And even when he's the old man, like being like aggressive, being a bit creepy, like there's still like this underlying charm to it, which I was impressed by.
Yeah.
Like he's off balance, but there's like a bit of a like wryness, a bit of a jokingness to him.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. When he like when he pulls out that baby and he's like oh god, he looks so evil.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, so the werewolf, the when he does like the bestial scene with Lucy, and the thing that he seems to be like, or that the camera work anyways honed in on, and I don't know how much credit I can give Gary for that, because he's great in the scene also. Obviously it's horrific, but when he turns and he looks at her, and you can see his eyes, and there's that like, there's just like a softness to his face, like he's able to like communicate, like you immediately see that it's him. Like you kind of described that already, James, that you could see through those prosthetics that it was the character. But like you say, I don't know how much of that 100% is attributed to Gary, but not that I want to take anything away from Gary.
Don't take it all away from Gary.
But yeah, that's so fucking cool. And then when he's young, he's aggressive in pursuing Mina, but he's not. It's never too much. Like when she's. Oh, sorry.
True.
I shouldn't say that.
It's not
there
true.
There is when he grabs her.
Yeah.
Forces
but
her
otherwise,
down, and then but there's more of a. That's more of like he holds her in place to like let her catch on to their like psychic connection.
That is what it ends up amounting to. Yeah.
That's because that's the I've crossed oceans of time, right? That's the that's the scene. So he has to like she's feeling it, but he doesn't have the time to like let her sort of drift off again, right? So he's aggressive in that instance and non-consensual, let's say. But for the most part, prior to that, he's sort of like, if she pushes back on his advances, he gives her the space to contemplate still.
Question about that. This watching, I wasn't so sure that, like, do they have that connection to begin with, or is he recognizing that she reminds him of, you know, his wife, his first wife? Like, is it meant to be sort of like a reincarnation, or is it like sort of like partly his mesmerism and charm?
She knows about Transylvania. She describes the landscape. So I think that, like, if you're looking for sort of evidence of a reincarnation sort of scenario,
okay,
probably that.
I feel that it's a reincarnation because I think that he's taken aback, especially in that scene you're describing when she describes his homeland, that he seems to be shocked, and almost like upset, because he's realizing that maybe she is brought forward for him. And I guess that's maybe the I don't know if that's the chivalrous reading of it or whatever, because he is the most powerful vampire ever, so he could be just manipulating the whole scenario. But
no, there's other evidence that. So when they're at the castle and he's got Jonathan there and he's just made his joke about the blood and he's freaked out or whatever, but then he looks over and he sees Mina's little, like, the picture of Mina. He's shocked and he's like, "Do you believe in fate?" He asks Keanu. So that would suggest at the very least, like, unless there's meant to be some sort of, like, unreliable narrator element to him, then I think that some sort of magical something. The power of love is done something. Yeah,
he definitely gives her, I think, choice to, like, he backs off a couple times, and like he does try to talk her out of it a little bit. But is that just part of the seduction? I don't know. Like, that's. But it feels like he's holding back.
It's two people that want to fuck. Well, and no, like, and they're doing a game of just the tip, and, you know, of course that's how that always goes. There's this like that scene at the end when he's like, so he climbs into bed with her. This is near the end of the movie. And he turns into a green mist and starts seducing her under the sheets, and then, like, materializes. And, you know, and she's like, "I love you." And then he explains about Lucy, and then she's angry, but she's like, "Love you." And so then they play a game of, like, she's like, "I want to," so she's resisting, and then she's giving in, and then he's resisting and he's giving in. And so they're just going through that drama, you know, that psychosexual drama that amplifies pleasure. And then, you know, and then they give in. Because she sucks his blood and he sucks hers, and that's essentially they've engaged in the sexual act at that point.
That's right. Yeah. Actually, one thing I noticed too this time is that, like, vampirism directly linked to sexuality in terms of even Van Helsing's research. He's an expert on blood
civilization.
Diseases. Yeah.
I went looking to see if that was
hand in hand.
Yeah, that's not in the book so far as I can tell. I did I just thought it was such a great line, and I was like, where is? Yeah. So that's a little something. Anyway, sorry, I cut you off.
No, I think this movie develops Van Helsing a little bit. Now, this was the first time I think I've watched this movie as, like, sort of like divorced from religious sentiment. I think as a kid, I really I felt like Van Helsing was the hero of the story. Like, I was, like, really behind his fanaticism. Like, this guy knows what's going on. Like, he's fighting the forces of evil. Watching it as more of an atheist, that guy's a fucking monster.
I mean, was she in a lot of pain, Doctor? Yes, she was in a lot of pain, but then we drove a stake through her heart and cut off her head, and then she was fine.
Yeah.
Doctor! I don't know. So why is he a monster? Sorry. I agree that he's not really a hero. But I mean, why is he? What's so bad about him?
Monster is too strong, but I mean, like, just like in terms of in contrast with my previous sentiment. But no, the callousness, the sort of lack of concern for other people's feelings. He's so excited to be finally facing this thing that he's spent his whole life preparing for.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of like, it's not even about the people. He's sort of, and like, just when he's talking about Lucy, like the your precious bride has become a whore to Satan, but we'll still save her precious soul. Like that, those lines don't hit the same way anymore.
I cut that out to splice into the episode, and I'm gonna do it right now.
Is the cause? Is the cause my soul? It is Dracula, the undead, the foe I have pursued all my life. Dracula! Jack, hurry! I've much to tell you! Guard well, Mr. Morris. Do not fail here tonight. We are dealing with forces beyond all human experience and enormous power. So guard her well. Otherwise your precious Lucy will become a bitch of the devil. A hole of darkness.
Well, you're a sick old buzzard.
Nice.
There's a bond between church and state in this movie, and there's also like a total ineptitude behind all of them, right? They're just like bumbling fuck faces that don't understand spirituality or love, right?
Yes, true. Yeah.
So that's sort of like how they're trotted out, you know. When you, but
in this, like, so let's assume that. So how are we understanding this? Like, Dracula is sort of an unbridled sexuality. He's an invasion by the other into the placid life of the paternalist bourgeois lifestyle, where women are submissive and not sexual and bear the children, etc. And so if that's and Dracula represents like a sort of a romantic, the dangers of romantic love and its fulfillment through sex, that kind of thing. And so in that way, like, he's an oppressive force in this movie. He's so excited about fighting Dracula, and this gets what you were saying, Chris, about like the civilization thing, like the venereal diseases. He and the relationship to blood, like he wants to get rid of all that romantic love, like that tortured romantic love, like that Romeo and Juliet shit. He's like, no, we don't need that, and he's almost excited to stamp it down, because he puts it in the frame of both he and Dracula put it in the frame of Christianity, but maybe that's a distinction between. There's probably a clever thought somewhere about like Orthodox versus Catholic in all of this, because like. And I don't have a clever thought, but I mean, like, Dracula is very much worried about Christ and God or whatever, but he's not, when Anthony Hopkins pulls out the cross, he just sets it on fire with his evil energies or whatever. But his Christianity is Orthodox, like Eastern European Orthodox Christianity, and Van Helsing's is, I would assume, Catholic. I don't know what it amounts to.
Yeah. Yeah, those kind of trappings. I'm not sure what the conflict would be, like, didn't like religiously either, but it's true.
Well, even if there isn't like some sort of theological conflict, like just like one represents a different type of spirituality.
It's the civilization thing. Like if you really take that seriously, it's like it's saying that like sex is necessary to drive civilization, but like we have to stamp it down because it's also a sickness. Like that's a fascinating perspective.
Yeah. So in that way, like, I don't know if he's a monster, but he's
repressive.
And Dracula is like, not a good dude. He's not a good dude.
No,
this
for
Dracula
sure not. No. I think given enough time, she'd probably just be on to somebody else, and like just sort of like, this is something that's burning its way through her system. And when she's like 30, she may feel totally differently. That's why I started asking about the. You guys are probably right. I think the movie does set up a sort of like more metaphysical, like sort of there is like an eternal romance thing going on there. But I kind of wish it wasn't, because I think it'd be funny if it's just sort of like another like he's just kind of like this bohemian dude that shows up and like sort of shows her another way, but like she'll be moving on later too.
Yeah, well, she's still, because she's just moving from one marriage to another.
Yeah,
Which
you can't possibly know what you mean by forever. No, I want this.
Yeah, and it's like they both sort of amount to the same thing, and she has gotten married already, and she's
instant regret.
Yeah, that's right. Now that I'm married, I know how I feel. Typical women, I don't. Sorry, there was a thought before I was pretending to say something misogynist. I think she does need, like, that is part of her though. Like, theoretically is this burning desire to move on, and I like this is neither here nor there. But one thing I liked Mina Harker in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I like that. Like, what's this woman like after this event? Kind of question, because you do find yourself asking that question, like I think we already did. Like, she takes him into the church at the end. Mina takes Dracula after he's been slashed, and like she fucking murders him in that space, but he's saved by the power of love. I think this the movie tips its hands in favor of the cosmic reincarnation metaphysical relationship. I think that you can't read it otherwise, even if you want to. Because he's literally saved at the end.
I know we agreed not to do this. I won't say anything further, but that's one of part of why I like Nosferatu, because I don't think that it falls in that direction.
Oh, it definitely doesn't. Yeah, that's fair. I don't think that's actually, all right. I like that. I don't know if I would have got there until having rewatched it, but anyway, you were going to say something, James.
No, I was just going to say I don't know, like, because I don't like I like your reading of the the bohemian sex demon ruining everything, in terms of like culture and religion, but also I feel like the love stories brought forward so much harder that you can't avoid it. You can't avoid like that it's like tabled as a tragedy at the end.
You're right.
And it is. No, it's tabled as a tragedy at the beginning. She thinks like the Ottomans send this dirty message saying that like your husband's dead, so she commits suicide. But he's not dead. He's survived through the grace of God. And so there is a tragic element to him. Like, this movie doesn't shy away from it. I think it still sells at 100%. And then he's saved at the end, and so it becomes sort of as a comedy, like order is restored at the end. And so it's not as bleak as it could be, like which we're going to get in Nosferatu. That's a much bleaker movie. Like Coppola wanted this to be like an erotic fantasy and a Hollywood blockbuster. Yeah, he sure did.
at the end, sorry, just to interject quickly, when he dies, Julia noticed that he dies in like a Christ pose too.
Yeah. So the movie's well on your side, James. Like on the side of this being a love story across time, across these oceans of time, all that stuff. Because he's driven away from God by his love of this pure love of Isabella or whatever. And I don't know how that works in terms of theology. It sounds like not a good play. Just like, I hate you, God, because you killed my wife. Usually doesn't go over well. But in this movie, it's like, sometimes that's what you end up doing when.
Oh my God, we even talked about Renfield, but I think part of his role is to be the sort of to be that sort of like perverse parody of religion, like the blood, the master's blood is the life in this case, and he's kind of set himself up as God to this man. But I think there's something really interesting in like and maybe this goes to like the sort of morality of a Bram Stoker, but there tends to be something a bit fruity about like when a man, like if a vampire takes blood from a man, then like there's something like just different about that, because like other time vampirism comes up, it's sort of like this seduction. It's like this guy sneaking into your wife's bedroom at night 3 times and like bringing the heat. It's weird. It's interesting that there's like this sort of like and Jonathan, which is that made me laugh. The 3 women just sitting there. Well, yeah, that too. But like just the fact that he's like they won't let me go, and it's like, yeah, there's what a great excuse to bring back to your wife. Couldn't get away from these 3 seductresses that they just kept draining me. Couldn't move.
Oof.
Yeah, imagine like it. How do I phrase this? Like, imagine the movie. It would just have a different valence if like it was like this buff dude that came in and just started like just macking on Jonathan Harker and bit his dick and stuff. You know, that's a
Totally.
William Friedkin. That's cruising all of a sudden.
Yes.
And yeah, not what Francis Ford Coppola was going for.
No. But Tom Waits, man, incredible. Like he was a good, that was a great performance.
I understand that his performance of Renfield isn't even in like the top 2 or 3. That there's some great ones out there in the older movies.
Is that right?
Do you think that there's?
That's what hey, this is what the internet said.
Okay.
No, that's interesting. Okay, so I could.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that would be a subsection of, because I do want to return to the vampire movie, like because we always have a lot of fun talking about the vampire. Like when we talked about Near Dark, that was very good. When we talked about Interview with the Vampire, I guess it was all in the same episode. That was good stuff. And so like subcategories of Dracula movies where like we just focus on Renfield. Maybe diminishing returns at a certain point, but, you know, every once in a while we've just got to, all right, we're in it for the Renfield. Renfest. He doesn't stand like he's not disruptive. Sorry, Tom Waits, he's not disruptive as a character in this movie. Even though he's very strong. With I think actually if Rich,
yeah, you're saying like what's the sort of thrust, because it like in a weird way it sort of terminates as a subplot, but that is again part of the novel. Like he doesn't really. He's there to sort of foreshadow the coming of Dracula, I guess.
Yeah, he's the Silver Surfer to the Galactus.
Yes, he is absolutely
master. I think him and Richard Grant though do a good job of like playing off each other. I think that's what I was going to say. Is I think that if you had Tom Waits playing against the Princess Bride guy, that's not going to come off very well. But you got 2 absolute physical maniacs just like jabbering at each other. That's beauty.
I saw an interview or found an interview with Richard E. Grant, and he was saying that like he was just so impressed with Tom Waits as like as an improvisational actor. Like he'd never seen someone like do what he was doing.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's good. That means a lot. That means a lot to me to hear that.
Yeah. Tom Waits is my true remaining hero, so I do appreciate that. Van Helsing can go.
I don't see anybody else doing a better. Yeah, who's going to do a better Van Helsing?
No.
Are we going to watch the Van Helsing movies? Who's starring?
Oof.
Sorry, is that who's in that? That's not Jack? It's not Wolverine, is it?
It might.
Hugh Jackman?
It might be. Yeah, I think, wasn't it?
Okay, well, we don't need to solve this problem right now, but like in my mental Rolodex, that's.
But it is.
If you want to look it up, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll put that on the sub list as well, right? That just makes sense.
That's going to be an underworld experience. We'll like start watching it and be like, "There's nothing here."
Well, we'll just pair it with Underworld, and then between the two.
Wow! Finally get around to that.
Yeah. Do we have anything else on the old Bram Stoker's Dracula?
I don't think so.
Oh, I don't think so.
I thought What's Her Nose did great. Natalie Portman. I mean Winona Ryder.
Yeah, Winona Ryder.
She was really good.
Winona,
Yeah.
she's stunning, and
Yeah.
Is still stunning in
Yes.
Stranger Things.
This was an underrated performance from her. Nobody talks about it, but I thought it was really good.
Yeah, watching it this time, I was taken with it. And you know, she's been in a lot of weirdo productions. She like this is the era of her just being in a bunch of weirdo productions with, I don't know if a bunch actually, but she's obviously done the Tim Burton film, the Beetlejuice, and then this, and I guess she's going to do Alien Resurrection. That's kind of a weirdo film. Those are the only ones I can think of, but either way though, she's no stranger to a big production.
Heathers, of course.
Is
Back
that
to Dana
but is
Waters.
that fine? So what I was thinking of when I say weirdo productions is like prosthetics and
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
darkness and, you know,
That's not like that.
yeah. Yeah, all right. And yeah, she looks really good when she's taking absinthe. She looks very much like the goddaughter of Timothy Leary, and I always try to remember that
Yes.
whenever I see her on the screen. Okay, so what do we think overall? What do we do? Let's give this movie a rating, just to kind of cap it off before we. James, out of 10 bites to the neck, what do you give it?
Oh, 9.
9 bites to the neck. What
Yeah.
brings it down a notch?
It's got to be the way that the lines are delivered in that art house kind of way. There's a fine line, and it was crossed a couple of times, mostly by Anthony Hopkins.
Okay, Chris.
Yeah, 9 was the number that popped into my head, and I think the knock is it's energy not knowing how to end, and just kind of having to wrap things up in a package.
Okay, I'm gonna give it 10 bites out of 10 because just because I'm super impressed with this movie, top to bottom. Even though that horse chase is shit and Keanu Reeves is flat as a board, I think what they did here was exceptional, and I'll watch this movie over and over and over, and I'll never get sick of it. I'll never think it's stupid, and I'm never ever gonna fuss about how it ended. If they could fucking cook grilled cheese at the end of this movie. I'd be totally fine with that. Just make a grilled cheese. So next week, we're going to be doing Nightmare on Elm Street, because I thought we'd give us a little vampire break, but still touch on... Actually, no, next week is Doug Bench Batman. Pardon me. Then after that, we're going to do Nightmare on Elm Street, just to tackle another epic sort of villain, one of those ones that entered into the zeitgeist, and see what we can sort of... Basically, it'll be kind of one of those on Freddy Krueger... not one of those, but it'll be kind of an on Freddy Krueger episode, and then we're going to do Robert Eggers, Nosferatu. Be a nice counterpoint to the whole thing. So if you like that, tune on in.
Jos iubesc din nou.
N-ai nimic pentru noi în seara asta?
Ha